I'm going to do a little opposite here. We're going to start on the outside of the vehicle underneath before we do anything inside. Customer brought me in a vehicle. It's a 2002 Lincoln Continental. He loves this thing. It's a 4.6 liter dual overhead cam, front wheel drive, what would be called the Cobra motor. Overall, it's in actually really good shape for a 2002. It's got a little banged up, beat up here and there, but it's out in the winter. You don't see no body panels rusted out in this thing. You know, you got your typical wheel well stuff right here that you could grind all out and stuff like that and feather all back in, but that ain't nothing. These actually are unibody. They have a pinch weld where like the town cars and stuff are a full frame vehicle. So this was a benefit for us working on these because we didn't have to find specific spots. You get you a good spot on the pinch weld and you're good to go. Plastic front sway bar links, I don't like those at all. Hate that. Overall, this thing's in actually pretty good shape. Big old single piston front brakes, nothing too crazy. There was nothing real special about the braking system on here, but it's electronic ride control. You can actually see where not only is in an airbag vehicle, it actually has sensors right here that go into the shock absorber and either create a tighter metal particle compression or a looser one, and that's how it can help control the ride. This was your sensor for your front ride, and these often break in these control arms. They break, then you got to retap them, JB weld them back in, or you actually got to get a new control arm. It's one of the things that often happen when you get into accidents and stuff in these. Super easy vehicle to work on overall, other than you have to start getting a power steering. Actually, I had to pull this vehicle apart a few months ago and put this power steering pump in here, and it's a pain in the butt. It's nothing to take real lightly, but it is what it is. This motor's pretty clean overall. Looks like somebody put new AC compressor bolts in. It's a common thing for these to rot out inside this AC compressor housing, so somebody's got new ones in there. It's got a little oil right here, but that's for where they change the oil. It spills down and people don't clean up after themselves. This has a newer radiator in it because the old radiator was shot. I put a radiator in this a few months ago. But there are other things leaking that the customer just doesn't have time to get to right now. And when I had to put this thing in, this was all crushed in. Somebody had run over something and dismantled it. It's all wavy and stuff. I had to pull out a hammer and bang as much as I could back to its original form. But this had to be dropped out of here. I had to pull the radiator and stuff out from the bottom. Was it a real hard job? No, but it was time consuming because there's some stuff in the way to get the radiator out of there. So starters are easily accessible on these, just right at the bottom. Super easy to get in and out, so nothing crazy about that. Surface rust. Nothing's actually rusted through other than you see a few spots where stuff is starting to actually flake out, but nothing's actually made it through metal anywhere. There's no holes anywhere on this car. Overall, this car is in actually excellent shape for what it is. I mean, you get your little spots like this that you could actually grind a lot of this down, brush it all back down, and then come back and treat it with a chemical to start to fight the rust. And you know, that wouldn't be a big deal. Even up behind here, really clean overall, other than just at your joints where the wheel wells and stuff come down. Some of these mounts, like here, you know, this is going to be an exhaust leak. These are typical things that rot out on these. Nothing's connected here. It's not leaking yet. The rust has actually helped hold it all together. This would be one of the first things that would rot out on this vehicle. So it will need a new exhaust clamp eventually when the customer complains about it. He hasn't complained about it yet. He's limited on the money he could put into it. Apologize for that beeping. That's my walkie-talkie going off. I actually found a broken ground cable from here, and I said, you want me to go cheap or you want me to go expensive? Because they don't really make this cable anymore. And he said, how about we do something in between? So I ground out the exhaust right here behind this clamp. I added a clamp to it. I made a negative cable, brought it over here to a really wide washer, and I tapped it straight through the frame where the old one was at. Cleaned up a real good spot, and that seemed to fix some of the flickering that was going on with the dash. But the customer has said it's happened once or twice since then, so I got to get back into it and see exactly what's going on with that. These are a little stronger of a trailing arm than what you would see on like the town cars, because this is a solid beam front to rear knuckle arm, where the other ones are real flimsy like this here, thin stamped steel type stuff. This has got a solid one. You can actually see the bushing's actually worn a little bit and it's starting to split, but it actually hasn't created anything loose. Like, it's not allowing this rear end to walk back and forth. What was beneficial to this vehicle that the Lincoln Town Car didn't have was, this is a front wheel drive vehicle, but it had independent rear suspension. I just upgraded these from the plastic to the metal sway bar links. Again, this is actually the electronic controlled rear shocks here. So these shocks are electronically controlled, as well as it has airbags. The Town Car airbags look to be a little bit bigger. The Town Car rides a lot better than this car. The Town Car is a solid axle rear end, where this is an independent rear suspension rear end. So this will actually ride better in some of the rougher situations and stuff like that than a Town Car. This car has a little bit more power than the Town Cars, with a 4.6 liter dual overhead cam engine, what they call the Cobra motor. You travel on back here, your typical stuff at the end of your flares right here, these always rot out. What I tell people to do is eventually, if they get to a point where they're worried about that, actually just go ahead and seam that. Just cut it, just go right in here and cut it straight back, and then if you can take just a flat piece of steel and run it across and just tack the steel back in, it will never happen again. This is where your evap box and stuff is, or your charcoal canister and stuff. It's mounted just like on the Town Cars right here. Just plastic. These always rot out on these and they fall apart, and then you have to tap your own screws and nuts and bolts and stuff back in. This hasn't happened yet, but you can see how really rusty back here where it's all open and nothing protects this. One of the first things I would do if you had a good condition Continental or Town Car is I would go ahead and wire wheel all this down, get it real nice and clean, wash it all off real good, wash the soap off, and then I would undercoat everything. This car has never been done. So let's go ahead and get the car down. On these vehicles, they don't run true dual exhaust. You see two exhausts, but it's not true dual. Let's go ahead and get it down, and then we will actually look at the inside of this thing and go take it for a test drive. So this is a sunroof Continental. Leather seats. On the back, 32 valve Intec V8 Lincoln Continental. Nothing rusted, nothing beat up, no dings, no holes or anything in the doors. Just really nice. Customer came in because he said his doors were freezing, so I treated the rubber seal. I wiped them down, siliconed everything, and then I actually re-greased up his door latches and stuff here. It's got a lot of stuff inside, so I don't really want to get in there too much. But nice plush leather, you know, really soft. Even softer than, these were actually softer than the Town Cars. Really nice, soft, plush ride. Got the stamping plate down there. Nice door, nice clean close. A little bit more plastic than the Town Car. These doors aren't nowhere near as heavy. The Town, a little bit more plasticky sound, but still a solid close. The reason I like the Town Cars over these, because the Town Car was just a big, aggressive, full-framed vehicle. There's a lot of plastic involved here, a lot of flashy stuff involved here that the Town Car didn't have. Let's go up front and look at the lights. These had a nice big sweeping hockey puck light, I like to call them. Not a big aggressive grill or anything like that. It was a keypad car. There's keypads on it. They function, they work completely fine on this vehicle. Customer is upgraded from the factory radio to an Alpine radio. You get this virtual dash display here. You see in the side over here, it talks about driver door ajar, airbag level, because in the trunk, also in the same spot, just like the Town Car, same area, there's a disable for the airbag. So I'm going to go back there and I'm actually going to flip the switch. But you get your trunk, your gas cap, fuel cap, your trunk, all four windows, window lock, your seat controls up here, unlock, lock, your mirrors here. Really nice layout. Simple. Your cruise control here is all digital push button stuff. You can change the different modes. You can change your actual temperature, your fan speeds, the volume up and down here with the factory radio. It's actually got a different settings for different drivers, so you can actually set that. You can go into here, you can push this, and you can set it up how you want. The vehicle handling, you change all that here. Let me close this door and get out of the shop, and let's mess with these buttons. Let's go back here. Pretty simple, much smaller trunk than what you would have seen in the town car. So here, turn this down. So here you can see where your driving modes, your vehicle handling modes. You want it ride control firm, steering effort normal, ride control firm. You could just go through this and you could change it and set up plush, normal, firm. So you could change those modes based on how you want those electronic shocks to actuate. You can go through a systems check. You can just do a general system check. Voltage okay, engine temperature okay, oil level okay, coolant level okay, washer fluid okay. The town car had these options as well. Doors closed, trunk closed, exterior lamps okay, fuel levels okay, 98 miles to empty. Let's go into the menu. Express windows, auto lock, horn chirp, seat access, reverse mirrors, traction control, general stuff, right? Your trip, your reset, your different display stuff, you can turn it off. This is what they call a transverse engine setup. This engine is not set up like most engines. Let me show you what this engine looks like.
Haven't seen you in a minute.
This one has a standard engine release, 32 valve Intec V8, transverse engine. Pretty simple layout overall, nothing too crazy. Washer fluid, power steering, coolant reservoir, big battery, brake booster and stuff tucked away down there. Oh, another thing he had me do, he wanted me to rig this up. He didn't want to buy a whole new hose assembly and stuff. These are real bad about cracking on these Lincolns. This goes back there to that the windshield washer sprays. So I told him, I said, what do you want me to do? You want me to just shove a hose in there and see what happens? And he said, yeah, give it a shot, see what happens. He didn't want to buy the whole assembly, so that's what I did. I rigged up this rubber hose and shoved it on there. It seemed to be, it's been working for months now, so. And this is the area that it breaks off from right here. That nipple broke off and it started spraying stuff all over the engine. Spark plugs and everything are under these covers right here. This is your bleed port for your coolant right here. It's just a 1/4 inch drive. When you're doing your coolant flush, you'll pull this, you'll crack it, and you'll let all the air bleed out until straight fluid comes out, and then you'll tighten it back down. Right there at that coolant bleed port. Got the child seatbelt hookups back here. Big old speaker in the middle. Got your vanity lights on the side. You got the classic Lincoln clock in the center. It's a little smaller inside, you know, there's not a lot of room like there is in a town car in here. It's still very, very comfortable, but you can do heated seats. You can go your different temperature settings here, and you can set up, you want both, you want just the back only. Same thing on the other side, double heated seats. This one also had your compass and stuff set up inside your rear view mirror here, and you could change the different dim settings or whatever. Here you could actually turn on the light on both sides. You got your switches and stuff for your roof panel open and all that other stuff here. We're not going to mess with that because a lot of times when these go bad, people don't want you touching them. I don't know if this has went bad yet or not, but we're not going to mess with it. Yeah, garage door opener presets that you have to go through your manual to figure out how to use. Now let's go drive it. Okay, test drive time. It's got some really good power, nice pickup. It's definitely no slouch, that's for sure. Nice easy ride over the bumps. A little bit of wind noise in here, not too bad. My Lincoln is a little bit quieter than this one, quite a bit quieter than this one. Mine's also a 2006, a little bit bigger. It's actually a nice ride. It doesn't feel bad at all. The brakes are nice. It's actually a pretty comfortable ride overall. I like it. I mean, compared to my town car, I wouldn't say the pickup is like astronomical or anything like that. I know mine's a 2-valve compared to this being a 4-valve. There is a little bit more pep in this car, like overall. Like you can tell from stock. My car's not stock, so I'm talking about from a stock unit. You get a little bit more pep out of this Continental, but with my gear set and stuff now and the changes that I've made, my car is definitely quicker than this car, and it's just a nice car. It's a nice ride. I feel like my car is quieter, a little bit more less floaty, I guess you would say. This one has got a really nice float to it over the bumps and stuff. This one has, that four-corner ride control with the electronic shocks and stuff, so it does a little bit better responding to the actual bumps in the road, but not by much. Not by much at all. I would say I enjoy the simplicity of my car and how open my car is compared to this car. This car has a lot of nice features and stuff to it, but nothing that I could say I would rather have this car over my car for. My car I would definitely choose over this Continental, just for the simple fact that it's more simple. It's still luxurious, it's still an amazing vehicle, but this is a little too much, for what I would like as a daily. Okay, not bad. Nice sound to it. It's pretty quiet overall. It's got the restrictive exhaust and stuff on it. And it being front wheel drive, I mean, you're not going to get a ton of sound out of it, but I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say with it being rear wheel drive, or front wheel drive, you're not going to get that same push feel that you will like out of a town car, that standard American thrust from the rear that people just love. This is a front wheel drive car, so it's never going to be that. Nice car though, nice, very, very nice ride overall. I appreciate this car. This is sorry for the extended review on this, but just real quick, here it is, the review.